An old legend claims the Lusitania's captain made a secret deal with German forces to survive, while doomed passengers tragically perished. Did Captain Turner truly betray his own ship? Or is this cruel myth hiding a much darker and more terrifying reality? Today, we will uncover the exact truth behind the sinking of the RMS Lusitania, examining real evidence buried deep underwater forever. In early May of 1915, this incredibly massive and luxurious floating palace confidently departed from New York towards war-torn Europe. It was considered far faster and vastly more magnificent than the Titanic, carrying nearly 2,000 completely unsuspecting, hopeful passengers. Wealthy elites, joyful families, and innocent children enjoyed the grand dining saloons, entirely unaware of the deadly mechanical predator waiting. Below the glamorous decks, the massive cargo hold secretly carried highly controversial munitions and rifle cartridges destined for British soldiers. Believing their immense speed would easily outrun any enemy submarines, the crew confidently navigated the freezing, treacherous North Atlantic waters. Before departure, the German embassy had chillingly published clear newspaper warnings, stating that ships entering British waters risked immediate destruction. Many arrogant officials tragically dismissed these direct public threats, completely convinced that no civilized nation would intentionally attack civilian ships. Captain William Thomas Turner, a highly experienced veteran mariner, was strictly ordered to take evasive zigzag actions near the coastline. As they closely approached the foggy Irish coast, highly classified British naval messages warned of active submarine threats lurking nearby. Despite these terrifying warnings, Turner remarkably slowed the massive ship down to navigate the heavy fog, making it totally vulnerable. On the afternoon of May 7th, the silent German U-20 submarine finally spotted the grand silhouette of the vulnerable Lusitania. Without any warning, a single deadly torpedo violently ripped through the cold water, striking the ship's hull with devastating force. A massive shockwave from the first explosion rippled through the entire ship, instantly causing widespread panic among the passengers and crew. Seconds later, a mysterious second explosion occurred, vastly more powerful than the first strike, sealing the Lusitania's tragic fate forever. Many experts believe the German attack caused the secret munitions cargo to explode, ripping the magnificent liner totally apart internally. The twin massive explosions instantly caused a total electrical power failure, plunging thousands of terrified passengers below deck into absolute darkness. The massive ship quickly developed a severe list to starboard, making it practically impossible for the crew to lower many lifeboats successfully. Portside lifeboats tragically slid across the ship's tilting decks, crashing into frantic passengers as terror and complete chaos spread rapidly. With only 18 minutes before sinking entirely, agonizing decisions had to be made as thousands fought desperately for their lives. The ship's massive speed was now its greatest enemy, forcing vast amounts of water into the gaping wound at an incredible rate. Down in the lower decks, hundreds of lower-class passengers were tragically trapped within the complex maze of cabins, elevators, and corridors. Captain Turner remained incredibly calm, standing firmly on the bridge until the freezing ocean water finally rushed in to consume him. Panic-stricken parents desperately tried to secure their children in lifeboats, often handing them over to total strangers amidst the overwhelming chaos. The massive steam boilers suddenly exploded with devastating force as they came into contact with the freezing cold Atlantic Ocean water. The ship's final few moments were marked by horrific, agonizing screams echoing across the crowded decks as the stern lifted extremely high. Only 19 years after its glorious maiden voyage, the magnificent RMS Lusitania was about to disappear beneath the Atlantic waves forever. Unlike the Titanic's hours, the Lusitania was entirely gone in 18 minutes, making it one of history's fastest maritime disasters. After the ship vanished, over 1,000 terrified survivors found themselves struggling in the freezing ocean amidst massive fields of wreckage. Miraculously, Captain Turner survived the disaster by clinging tightly to a floating wooden chair for hours until a rescue boat arrived. This undeniable fact completely shatters the cruel myth that he arranged a secret, cowardly deal with the attacking German submarine forces. Prominent survivors like Margaret Mackworth vividly described the terrifying experience of being forcefully sucked underwater by the rapidly sinking massive ship. She eventually floated to the surface completely unconscious and was later pulled into a small rescue boat by exhausted local fishermen. Another prominent survivor, Theodate Pope, was mistakenly pronounced dead and placed among corpses until someone finally noticed her extremely faint breathing. The freezing Atlantic water was so brutally cold that hundreds of passengers succumbed to severe hypothermia before rescue boats finally arrived. Innocent children and helpless infants suffered the most, tragically making this maritime disaster one of the most heartbreaking events in history. Courageous local Irish fishermen navigating in small wooden boats were the very first responders to reach the highly chaotic disaster site. They bravely pulled freezing, completely exhausted survivors from the dark water, witnessing unspeakable horrors that would haunt their traumatized minds forever. Out of nearly 2,000 passengers on board, almost 1,200 tragically lost their lives during the incredibly rapid, terrifying ocean sinking. The devastating death toll included 128 innocent Americans, instantly sparking absolute global outrage and massive nationwide political protests. Major newspapers around the world quickly published horrifying, deeply tragic front-page images of the devastating disaster and its innocent civilian victims. The German government stubbornly defended the ruthless attack, loudly claiming the sunken Lusitania was secretly carrying illegal weapons of modern war. British naval authorities heavily denied these serious allegations at the time, leading to massive, highly effective anti-German propaganda campaigns spreading worldwide. While President Wilson initially sought a peaceful diplomatic solution, the Lusitania tragedy ultimately pushed American public opinion directly towards joining World War I. The unprovoked attack effectively turned the previously neutral United States against Germany, marking a massive psychological turning point in the global conflict. 2 years later, fueled partially by continued submarine warfare and outrage over the Lusitania, the United States formally declared war on Germany. For decades, persistent theories have suggested that top British naval officials intentionally allowed the attack to occur to force American intervention. Winston Churchill, then head of the Admiralty, notoriously wrote that it is most important to attract neutral shipping to British shores. Did they deliberately fail to protect the Lusitania? Or was it merely a tragic series of massive naval intelligence blunders and arrogance? Today, the final resting place of the RMS Lusitania lies shallow off the Irish coast, but the wreck has completely collapsed internally. It is heavily entangled in vast, forgotten commercial fishing nets, making any detailed modern forensic exploration extremely dangerous for deep-sea divers. Various diving expeditions over the years have tragically confirmed that the hull is now severely degraded, scattered, and rapidly falling apart. Modern deep-sea explorers have successfully used advanced sonar technology to map the complex debris field, hoping to finally solve its mysteries. American businessman Greg Bemis eventually purchased the highly controversial wreck, facing years of complex legal battles to dive and explore it. The core question remains unanswered by history. What truly caused that devastating and extremely powerful second explosion that doomed the ship? Was it the illegal munitions exploding exactly as the Germans claimed? or perhaps a sudden, massive, violent, and highly volatile coal dust explosion. 100 years later, the once magnificent but now shattered remains of the Lusitania keep their haunting secrets locked deep underwater forever. The final story of this great floating palace remains one of maritime history's most baffling and tragically enduring naval mysteries.